let's continue our discussion about several kinds of syllabuses. And now we're going to take up functional syllabus. We'll see its significance for language curriculum design and how we can integrate functional syllabus for language teaching actually. Okay. So before we begin our discussion, I would just like you to take a little pause and think about these questions listed here. So for instance, your thoughts about what you understand by the term functional syllabus. Before you watch the rest of the video, just take a little pause and think about this question. What you understand by functional syllabus, right? Secondly, how would you integrate functional syllabus into your own teaching context? And thirdly, could you trace the elements of functional syllabuses as demonstrated in the national curriculum for English language teaching in the Pakistani context of 2006? Right. Okay. Well, functional syllabus, as the very term, the very word itself indicates, it refers to the functions, the notions of the concepts of language learning, right? So it entails, various functions such as how to put requests, how to, prepare students to make them how to apologize or how to make an order or how to, talk to the bank manager. These are various functions involved in this type of syllabus. And the very notion behind this type of syllabus is Haim's communicative competence, which entails preparing students not only, know the pragmatic, but also the semantic aspects of language learning. So, in other words, what I mean by pragmatic and semantic, like just to understand the language in use in its context, and by semantic, it's in its meanings, right? So, like I said before, this type of syllabus contains a list of, various forms, for example, various notions or functions, how to apologize, or how to make requests. So this syllabus greatly lays emphasis on, understanding the elocutionary power of the speakers. I mean, in other words, the use of language in its context. Although, the major method employed in the teaching of this type of syllabus or implementing this type of syllabus is still presentation, production, and practice. Presentation, practice, and production. Right. This type of syllabus, goes beyond the sentential levels. I mean to say, beyond the semantic level, beyond the understanding or the teaching of the language in its sentence level. Rather, it prepares students to understand the context of the pragmatic of the language in use. Right. There are various advantages and disadvantages attached to functional syllabus, like the structural syllabus. Like I said before, it empowers students how to communicate effectively in various contexts, not only within the four walls of the classroom, but also outside the classroom. And since it could be, the lessons could be based on everyday texts, everyday topics, so it could be very motivating for the students. And since it goes beyond the sentential, the structural aspects of language learning, so it prepares them to understand the pragmatics of language learning. And since functions, before teaching this type of syllabus, a teacher must need to understand the needs, wants, strengths, and lacks of the student. So it takes into account the needs analysis. What about the disadvantages then? Well, some of the limitations, there are certain functions which are pretty much abstract. For example, you could think about hatred, you could think about love, you could think about bravery or attachment. These are the functions which could pose some problems for teachers to implement this type of syllabus in the classroom. So, and since this syllabus doesn't entail very much the selection gradation of the materials adopted for language teaching, so there could be some progression issues, for example, splitting lessons or splitting topics into lessons and sub-lessons or subtopics. So these are this is what mean by functional syllabus, and this is how we have taken a good look at some of its advantages and disadvantages.